Hectic activity everywhere. The division is being relocated. We are almost at the end of July. In the end, we have withdrawn to our original starting positions. According to what one can hear, several units have been withdrawn from the front via rash transports and moved to the southern front. Well, all that certainly has a good reason. I'm still with the kitchen troops and was already able to make myself useful. It's somewhat monotonous, but tolerable. The kitchen bowl is slowly warming up and cracks jokes here and there. We also go on a lot of, I want to call it, deals under the table, so past the lieutenant. On and off, infantry soldiers bring wild game by and other critters. There's a lively trade going on. One thing you can say, the rations are spot on. And that already pleases one in this whole misery. Peter's already departed. He still stopped by and gave his farewell. He wants to stay in touch in any case. No one knows where the path may still lead us. An entire unit has now been taken away from the division. All the heavy equipment is remaining here. Wheeled vehicles and everything else went back. Now we only have one unit still at the enemy, but at least materially we are well off again. Relocation once again is to the south. Apparently there are some gaps to fill. I still have 1 week of potato duty, but at least I don't have to perform ordnance duty. There, I'm still able to make myself scars, or rather, the lieutenant has not assigned me to that yet. It's well possible that Peter has arranged something here. I mean, the two knew each other. In any case, I'm quite happy about it, since that wouldn't have been my thing. Everyone is running around. Things are loaded up and moved to the nearby train station. The tracked vehicles are in parts on top of the train carts already. The rest will follow in short succession. I'm curious where it is now going once again. Probably not to the east. It's been said that the Russian is recovering from the battles quickly and has brought up fresh units. If Schmidt was still around, one would certainly have a good overview. So now, one can only guess what's going on. The day has come when all of the supply and food service vehicles are packed together. A bone-breaking job. But I think that the comrades do realize how well they are off here. Little or no enemy fire. The biggest threat here is not having meat in the soup or running out of bacon. But this way everyone has their task and one gear rotates another. In the evening, I'm lost in my thoughts. Sure, the comrades are around you, but when you lose your crew, it's not quite that easy. Other crews understand this and sometimes take you in, but somehow it's still different. I'm thinking of Lothar with his headdress, who came to us as a replacement, our freshman, who as a radio operator still participated in the first battles with wide open eyes. And Friedel, the loader. No one could load faster than he. I've made a list for myself who rode with me at what time and when they had fallen or been severely wounded. The list is not short. I hope I'll soon be able to do what I'm really good at. It's going to the rail station. We're loading up the remaining vehicles for further transport. The armored units are already on the way. Now we're following behind. For 2 days we're supposed to relocate and then set up makeshift camp again. We have arrived and are unloading everything again. We are lucky and are able to move it into an old collective farm, which we quickly transform into a small headquarters. We'll have to give that to the supply train folks. From nothing, they always magically create something. And once the pots are sitting over the fire, there'll soon be something to chew. Meanwhile, the combat units have already been established in the area of attack and are supposed to advance together with an SS division in the direction of River Mears. I catch a conversation between a captain and a lieutenant. What I hear out of it gives me serious worry. In this area of assault, there has already been considerable fighting. Several units paid a heavy blood toll with that. Despite that, they didn't get through. Now they're throwing our unit into it. And if Ivan is alert and has dug himself in, well then, Prost. In the new sector, we undertake several supply and exploratory trips. I managed to sneak myself into one for a day as well, and now don't have to slave away in the kitchen. We are to go to the neighboring unit with a truck to pick up canned goods. Said and done. The roads are bad. We have difficulty getting ahead of the poor roadways. I'm riding shotgun and Fritz, the driver, a lance corporal from the Ruhr industrial area, is a funny guy. Always with a good saying on his tongue, and he smokes like a chimney. Fritz has also been in the regiment since 41 and at the Eastern Front. I'm curious why he's still a lance corporal. Yes, he remarks, that's quite a long story. He had too many odd dealings, and that had been discovered at one time. Since he hadn't enriched himself with it and only had the well-being of his troops in mind, there was no court-martial. But in this army, he'd probably not make a general anymore, he explains to me, with a grin. So Fritz has a talent for organization. We were rocking on over the roadways and suddenly take a hard turn into the side road, or rather, a dirt road. Well then, I do want to know where the journey is headed, since this isn't the way to the train station. Just quickly taking care of something, he remarks. We've only been here for 2 days. What's he now up to already? We reach a unit of pioneers, and apparently Fritz is already being expected. A few boxes are unloaded and a few others loaded up. I look at it calmly, but don't comment on it. Then follow a few unidentifiable bottles which are handed back and forth. After that, we move on. I wait, and then Fritz does finally tell me that here we traded canned meat for canned fruits. On top of that, a few bottles of the good red wine for the lieutenant. This goes on here all the time. That way, one improves the food supply. Some have more of this and we more of that. It evens out. That's how the piano is played. Well then. We reach the train station and are quickly loaded up with all kinds of things. Fresh from the Reich and enough for the entire company. Here, Fritz is also wheeling and dealing. A few bottles here, a few boxes there. What a scoundrel. But I'll be the devil and interfere with that. Even the chain dogs, the military policemen at the train station, each receive a pack of French cigarettes from Fritz and are delighted over the small token of appreciation. Yes, you have to know these kind of folks. Then life is a bit easier. On the return trip, Fritz then wants to know what happened to me. Wasn't really the norm that someone from the front came to the rear and peeled potatoes. I only scratch the surface on what happened and leave it at that. But he nods right away and remarks he'd understand that. But he also says that we shouldn't be critical of Adolf. The one thing is what one thinks, the other what one says. There were the wildest stories. When we are back, things happened in rapid succession. The companies are already on the attack and are apparently to support the infantry divisions which are trying to stem the Russian advance by the Red Army along the Maas. Since we are positioned a few kilometers behind the main battle line, we do catch on to a few things. The Russians have laid strong strip of mines in order to prevent flanking attacks already in the approach. There are many losses. The availability of vehicles is becoming ever lower. I'm hoping to get out of kitchen duty soon. But now I don't want to demand too much and decide to use my time as well as possible in order not to draw attention. A few days have passed, and there is again a change of plans. We had just become comfortable and had everything well organized when the combat companies are being withdrawn from the front line and are sent via rash transports to the north. So it's burning there again as well. And we are also packing everything up to follow behind. This way now, July is coming to an end. We are feeling like the fire brigade, which now, with just one unit permanently dispatched to the hotspots at the front. I still have 1 week with the supply train. Then I should finally get into a company again. We are once again on the way on the road and are relocating in a northerly direction. With 10 vehicles, we are rumbling across the Russian wasteland. I'm sitting in the truck with Fritz. We are following behind our tanks, which are probably due to the rapid transport already standing at the enemy or are gathering at the new staging area. In the distance, we are already seeing columns of smoke. That looks like trouble. We do have an armored personal carrier along with us, which is taking over the lead right away, and is getting so far ahead of us that we, at any impending danger, would still be able to find cover. It's not a threat, however, but rather another supply unit, which got caught in an aerial attack. Partially horse-drawn, they had received the full blessing of the Russian flyers. We halt and see to it to look after the comrades. We count 28 dead and 12 wounded. All horses are dead or near death. We help as best as we can,